Ladies and gentlemen, soccer fans here in St. Louis and around the world, hola, and welcome to another episode of Atleticotv. I'm one of the hosts, Josh McGee, here as always with our two coaches, Ricky Garza and Luis Swisher. Excited to be bringing you guys another great episode this week. Ricky, start with you. How are things going?
It's going good. We got a good week, good weather, hopefully, no rain. We can get on the field this week. That's my hope.
That's the big thing. I mean, we got out of the cold, but now we got to deal with the rain. So hopefully, conditions are well enough that you guys can continue with the preseason, because obviously seasons are coming up here shortly, not just in St. Louis, but around the country. Luis, how are you doing? You had a particularly busy week.
Yeah, all good, Josh. We came pretty late last night, but it was good. One fun trip going to CNC, having games and starting the season, so it was good.
Yep, it was good to see, at least, getting out, starting up the season, quality opponent in FC Cincinnati and their academies, and a couple of wins here for some of the other levels here for St. Louis FC Academy. So looking forward to more good results for the rest of the season, but good start by you guys. And again, excited for this week's episode. We're going to have another great coaches breakdown for you guys, tournament that we haven't broken down quite yet or talked about much, so that's exciting. And of course, really cool community segment coming up a little bit in the show. But I want to start off today talking a little bit about, there's a lot of soccer going on, obviously, but kind of the big news here in the U.S. was the announcement of the U.S. men's national team roster for the upcoming friendlies that we have this month versus Jamaica and Northern Ireland. And I wanted to highlight the roster because this is a big year. This is the year before the World Cup. Obviously, right now we have the under-23s challenging for Olympic qualifying at this moment, but we're going to have World Cup qualifiers at the end of this year. And it's obviously a big deal, the U.S. not qualifying for the last World Cup. So this is to give us a little bit of an idea as to who's going to be trusted to get us back into the World Cup. So I kind of wanted to look at a little bit at the roster and kind of overview what this year will mean to the U.S. men's national team. So roster, there's a lot of guys on here that people will be familiar with. The goalies, are standard. Zach Steffen will be in goal, I assume, for the U.S. Serginho Dest, who scored 2 goals over the weekend for Barcelona. Extremely impressive. John Brooks and recent Roma signing Brian Reynolds are going to headline the defense along with St. Louis and Tim Ream. In the midfield, you've got in-form RB Salzburg player Brendan Aronson. Also included is Valencia's Yunus Musa. Actually, we didn't get to talk about this last week, but kind of last Monday, the news broke that Musa had committed himself to the U.S. men's national team. He could have played for England, but chose to commit to the U.S., so that's an important pickup there. And then, of course, names people will recognize immediately: Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, St. Louis' own Josh Sargent are among the forward groups there for this incoming national team. So, guys, a couple of friendlies. Luis, I want to start with you in terms of looking at the roster, these upcoming friendlies versus Jamaica and Northern Ireland, and, of course, looking ahead to the rest of this year. What are your thoughts about where the U.S. men's national team is headed and their thought process in terms of tackling these upcoming important fixtures?
Well, I think it's always good for the national teams to have some type of competition. Obviously, during this, there's around the world, there's going to be some qualifying, so that's a good time while U.S. waits for the guys that are going to come out of the first rounds, right, to get some games versus Jamaica, which most likely they will be facing someone probably from either Central America or Caribbean. So it's important to have those type of opponents. And also, the European always thinking as well to have a better challenge in what you can expect. Now, in the past, I think I got to see the last 2 games that U.S. had the men's national team, and they played Panama. They played some of the teams that they did. I thought that it was a good performance, good results as well, in terms of playing those guys with a lot of goals. So a really young roster. We get to see some guys coming back and some other new names as well that they're performing well in Europe. So it will be fun to see, how they do in the next 2 games.
Ricky, I want to talk to you a little bit about the coaching aspect of this, because there's been kind of, I want to say, a honeymoon period. I think Berhalter was met with some criticism initially coming in, but in terms of the high-level fixtures, he had not been thrown into the fire yet. This will be his first run through with World Cup qualifying. This is what he was brought in for, and obviously, next year with the World Cup, ideally that we qualify, that is what he will be ultimately judged on. I want to talk to you a little bit about that dynamic, what they need to do this year in order to get that right, and just kind of the process and the situation right now with the coaches at the youth level, because obviously right now they're competing in Olympic qualifying and other competitions as well. how that's set up for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the team is in the right direction. U.S. soccer is going in the right direction. I believe the average age is 23 years old for the roster that was been went public, and so many amazing players that are playing around the world that are young, and they're playing in these great top level leagues. And I think, my opinion, it's that we need to now take that over another level. Nothing personal against Bertholder or Jason Kreis. They had good careers here in the United States. But if our talent is playing in the top leagues, it would be, I think, a good move to have a coach who has experience in those top leagues or over there to come over and then get us over the next wave of an opportunity, because there's a lot of youth players coming up now, and I don't know that we're making the best decision, in my opinion, to have this Bertholder lead this young team to the next level. I think that's something that we should do. They did it with Klinsmann. It was iconic that they all of a sudden did that and brought in him for that. And I think we were going in the right direction. Look what he did. He went out and got a bunch of European-based players, Americanized them, got them there, and then we went again to another level. So I don't know. What do you think, Luis? Like I'm not saying that I want to have an outside American coach forever. I just mean having Americans kind of learning under the level of experienced coaches that are doing it at a high level. That's just what I'm saying. It's the high level. We have 3 American coaches that are coaching in Europe right now. You have Jesse Marsh, and then I think it's Pellegrino, and then I forgot the third guy, but they're the only American coaches coaching pro Europe right now. For me, I got targets on those 3 to get involved to the national team at some point, because they are American and they're doing it on top of that. So what do you think? I mean, Luis, you've played internationally from Guatemala, and how important do you think that is right now to these players that are playing at the top levels around the world to have a top-level coach kind of taking them to the next level?
Well, I think it will be interesting to see, how Greg does over in the next years prior to the World Cup. I think the U.S. soccer board, in this case, are respecting the process that they started, and they don't want to cut the process. I do agree that you need the best coaches around them. I'm not saying he's not one. I think you're giving time to the process and see how he does. I think based on results, not the great results at the beginning of his first year where he got in. I think slightly now it's getting better. A lot of shuffle, a lot of watching other players. It's a big challenge. I would say it's a little bit different than what I think Klinsmann experienced. I thought Klinsmann did a good job, but I think it's a different challenge than what Klinsmann had in the past. And the reason why it is because soccer in the U.S. has grown a lot, and it keeps growing. When you see 50 or 60 players in the top leagues of Europe, that's a challenge, because if you compare in the past, Klinsmann didn't have those 50 and 60. That tells you there's an advance. We have advanced in some areas where on development that you have all these good players playing in the top leagues, and they keep going. There's more and a better relationship with even clubs like FC Dallas, with Bundesliga, with Bayern Munich, and things like that. So I think we can compare because it's a different experience. Time, I always say, time will tell. I think it is not great to get out Berhalter in this case. We need to keep him until because it's the players are getting used to the coaching staff and everything. So I would say after the World Cup, there's need to come. It could be him. But if it doesn't work, I don't think it won't be a debacle where like it happened with Bruce Arena, where we didn't qualify for the World Cup. But I think Berhalter will be safe on that. They will qualify, I have no doubt. The question will be how much competitor you're going to be in the World Cup. And then looking forward, 26, that will be okay. If the process of 4 years is not great, then looking and consider other people that is doing good job. Like I think Jesse March is a great coach, and then you can argue something like that. But if not, I mean, just keep rolling. If he keeps improving and doing good things with the U.S., then it will happen. Now, that's just my thought.
And exactly whoever that is. The other piece, Josh and I were talking a lot about this before the show, is that top team is sort of the last element of the developmental process. So the youth teams underneath have to have a relationship all the way straight from the top. And I thought that's the thing that Jurgen was trying to do, was sort of have that pyramid and funnel came up and that everybody was involved. And I think that's going to be important here too, is when you put that person in place, that from U15 on up, there's a plan, right?
Well, I will just say this. I think that so far, my biggest encouragement with Berhalter would be the recruitment factor of it, that's still going strong. I think this Musa, commitment is huge for what he's been doing already at Valencia to bring him in to this talented group of players. There's players all over the world right now that some people may not even have heard of, but Berhalter is there. He's recruiting. He's getting these guys opportunities to bring them in these types of formats and these matches to get them experience with the national team. So from that standpoint, I think he's doing real well. But like Luis said, time will tell. And in terms of this process, again, I think he's been enjoying the fact that these high-level matches have not yet been coming up. Now we're going to get to the World Cup qualifying. And yeah, we all assume that we're going to figure this out. We got the talent this time around. But that's what happened last time. If he doesn't qualify, I wouldn't be surprised if it would be, an immediate firing, just because of that's what we have to do. We have to set an example and a standard of that. We're at least doing this, right? I've enjoyed the process so far. I think he's capable of it. And if he does it, then, we're all good. And we can continue to look forward and ahead to 2026. But we'll just have to see. But it's important because this is an important year. It feels like the world has stopped because of the pandemic, but it hasn't. We're already on the cusp of the 2022 World Cup. So it'll be exciting to see these matches coming up here in just a couple of days. So exciting to see what this look for the U.S. men's national team will look like. So again, very excited here. Brand new episodes. Let's get into the rest of it. Okay, it's time for our Coaches Breakdown segment. For this week, our coaches will be breaking down a Europa League match from last week between Dinamo Zagreb and Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs came into this match with a 2-0 lead on aggregate from the first leg. They were able to keep Zagreb from scoring an away goal. They were without, though, one of their better players. Heung-min Son was out due to injury, and that was a big blow for them. And our coaches are going to show how Zagreb was able to successfully complete a comeback in the second leg and advance to the next round of the Europa League. Coaches, take it away.
Welcome to our Coaches Breakdown segment. I'm Coach Luis. I'm here with Coach Ricky.
Hey, Luis. So today we're breaking down this game. Let's jump right into it. We're going to be excited to show what Dinamo did to Tottenham. And they played a 4-3-3 most of the time. Dinamo, they defended in that. And Tottenham was primarily in a 4-2-3-1. But they would build up Tottenham with three in the back. Dinamo had good, kind of almost a diamond type of shape at all times when they would switch the ball from left to right. But Tottenham was trying to get Aurier, their right back, up. And that's why they most of the time played three in the back. But here you can see the Dinamo players have a man-marking system with two Tottenham players and two double pivots here to cover. And you're going to see the rotations and everything, and we want to showcase that. So here we have the man-tight marking, and then we have rotation that's going to come and follow through. See? So the player is going to come into the ball, and they're going to drop down. This player is going to be here to prevent the switch and to jump back into their 4-3-3 defensive shape. Again, you're going to have a rotation in here, just sort of balancing it out. Ball's switched, recovery, and immediately in their shape of the 3-3-4 in the back. And they were overloading the left, giving up the right because they wanted to stop Aurier on that side of the field, and they did. Tottenham had only used him like 6% of the game whenever they did get forward. So that was a clear Dinamo tactic to do so. Luis?
Yeah, trying to stay compact within that, kind of a middle block there. and trying to cover and prevent advance of Tottenham, right? You can see there Tottenham trying to be patient, but once they get into the zone, they were trying to be aggressive to try to get the ball back and apply that pressure. But as you say, there's a lot of movement on pressure cover all the time, and then not allowing Tottenham, in this case, pressure, and then always alert if he succeeds trying to get on the cover on behind. Once they know that that they're compact, those covers are gonna get so much balls recover from that.
That's right. And Dinamo's game plan was to force Tottenham long as much as they could and win those area balls. And they had confidence in their back line too, because there wasn't a lot of speed up top with Tottenham. And so here you can see Lauritsen is 1v1 here. And could it be a vulnerable situation? Yes, but they felt they had that confidence to allow Tottenham to have to go ahead and beat them 1v1. And then immediately they get dropped into their low block. You're going to see really good organization from Dinamo inside their box. You're going to see really good rotation here. But it really was that work ethic, kind of like what Leicester City, I think, back when we did a video several episodes ago. Watch how this Dinamo player isn't even in the screen right now. He's going to come streaking through to get in front of Lucas. Very committed. And Luis, you could kind of take it from here on the organization of Dinamo, right?
Yeah, they're super organized, super compact, as you say. Moments where they know that there's gonna be a threat or vulnerability on the 1v1s, trying to get a cover right behind, especially with the type of players that Tottenham have in regards of on zones where they could be really dangerous, right? So you can see there one pressure. It's the key of this game is how they do adapt the distance, and because you can be covering, but you cannot be doing a good cover. So I think the distance and angles of those covers, they're right on spot, and then obviously putting a lot of numbers. And not allowing, not just putting numbers, but you can see the recovers as well when those kind of empty spaces that Tottenham left, that they could see that there's a threat, and they did it pretty good. You can see now again there's a runner cover, there's another runner cover, so they're always aware of those recovery runs, and then the pressure is immediately as soon as they know that there's a threat. You can see here there's a pressure. Tried to get it, they win it, and then they get the foul, right? So it was a constantly doing it all the time. So I thought it was pretty good in the compactness.
And like I said before, Tottenham only attacked 6% of the time on the right side. And as you can see here, they try to create a lot of 3v2 defensive scenarios in the pressure zone. There's 3 Dinamo players, 2 Tottenham. They did it a lot on that right side just to make sure that attack zone was not utilized by Tottenham. And it was very clear to see constantly. Here it's going to come again. 3 players. Ball goes back, immediately pressing that the right central defender to play the long ball against 2 defenders, and Dinamo would clean those balls up every single time and then try to attack and counterattack right away.
Yeah, they were having a lot of covers, and now you can see on their build up, they were more direct, trying to find the target player, and the most important here is how can they win the second ball, right? From when you're being direct, you see you need numbers underneath and trying to get it back. In this case, they got it. And when Tottenham is defending, right, because there are areas where they're organized, but there are other areas where there's the space, and that's the spaces that Dinamo will try to attack, and you can see on that play an opportunity from a second ball, get it, and then attack the empty space as quick as possible. Now you can see here as well, they do the different type of pressures, right? High pressure, low pressure, middle block pressure, and a low block. So they knew that in certain zones, okay, they can be a threat for them, knowing that they could be vulnerable and we can still win it. So you can see there as soon as there were cues, they were aggressive under pressure, right? And also on their transition moment, If they get it back, how they're gonna win it back again. And then you can see numbers around the ball. So super disciplined, I will say, in the defending side for Dinamo in this game, which allows, obviously, they know that we can't give them space, and super disciplined in the actions and the player actions on the defending moment.
Tottenham was a little bit too loose to start the second half. I mean, they just didn't seem like they were worried too much about it. If only they knew what was left to come. Dinamo kept the same tactic, except they tried to keep the ball a little bit more before they went direct. They tried to pull out Tottenham. But other than that, they stayed the same. And then, of course, Tottenham, there really wasn't any changes other than some substitutions that happened in the second half. There just wasn't a whole lot of difference there. And I thought that was a big mistake by Mourinho, is he never really shifted and tried to have an answer. Here, so young players watching right now, just look at the good cover. Again, everyone has their marks. They're cover shadowing multiple players. They're communicating to one another. They're really working as a unit. And I really hope young teams watch this breakdown and understand that when you work in a group, you can do really good things. I mean, this was an underdog. Dinamo wasn't supposed to win this game, down 2 goals, and they end up getting the result. Again, now the ball's on the other side, same thing. Commitment, discipline, organized, doing very, very well, forcing Tottenham to play balls into spaces that were difficult. You have a 2v1 if it goes in here, and you're going to have a 2v1 right here. Boom. Immediately. It didn't matter who played it. Dinamo had 2 defenders for every attacking player. And then here was their supposed answer with Gareth Bale kind of coming in. Dinamo has a little bit more cover here, and this pays off into the goal on the counterattack. They throw so many players forward, and immediately the commitment. They knew they had to score 2-3 goals. And here's where the first one's going to come, Luis, right here. And they get forward, and they're going to make a good run, right, Luis? So go ahead and break this goal down for everybody.
Well, this is the obviously looking for the moments of desperation of Tottenham, and as well, right? Super organized in defense, and then now try to exploit those spaces that they were going to leave by Tottenham. This is a great goal, obviously, but you can see there is a 3v3 situation in the final zone, getting in a good moments to know when to attack. Obviously, it was a good finish, but then the opportunity, obviously, that they could be aware. And the problem with this is with, even for keepers, even for the defending side, the rest defending has to be pretty good, because if not, you get surprised because you're maintaining the ball possession, but you can be vulnerable if you're not ready as they weren't, right?
And exactly. And the second goal comes off of pressing, winning the ball, getting it under control. Again, it was a direct clearance that led to this. They're in the possession moment. They get in between the lines very quickly. Dinamo, this is a great session to run, is to watch how easily Dinamo, and discipline-wise, get in between the lines during a counterattack, sorry. And then finding, again, in between the lines, the spaces, ball's going to get played in. It's a great, beautiful run. Tottenham is all eyes on the ball, expecting the cross right to the PK spot. Beautiful finish. Coaches are going nuts. They're 2 goals. They need 1 more to advance. I mean, everybody was on the seat, of their pants. They're just on the couches, just going nuts. Dinamo has a chance. So right now we're at 2-2, and it goes into overtime. And I believe this is the first overtime. I think this might even be the second overtime, Luis. And this goal is what seals the deal for Dinamo coming into the 18. Oh my gosh. I mean, Luis, what would you do to your team to let a guy from half field just go through?
I mean, I think it's soccer sometimes it's about moments, right? Emotions get over, and you can see right now there's a reaction by Tottenham towards the end, and it's just, I think Dinamo just took advantage of their momentum, their discipline. And when you have the ball, sometimes you have the ball and you're trying to penetrate, but you're dealing with the pressure of, okay, we're still on the score up. So there's a lot of things and emotions that you need to deal with it. then Dinamo is just taking advantage of those moments when basically Tottenham, it's just those ups and downs and the downs. They were trying to, accelerate and making sure that, punish, and that's what it is, punish them, and there's no moment of reaction. When Tottenham got a little bit of reaction, sometimes is a little bit late.
It's that mental part of the game that takes it to the next level, right, Luis? And, Tottenham drops off, and like you said, Dinamo carries that momentum, and here they are advancing in the Europa League. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown with Luis and I. Hope you're learning these little soccer nuggets and developing your game as coaches or players, and we'll check you out on the next episode on Atleticotv. Welcome to AtleticotV's community segment. It's one of our favorite segments of the show. We get to unite and learn about community leaders and what they're doing here in St. Louis. Yes, we are a soccer show, but this is one of the most important reasons why we've decided to do Atleticotv here at the Loco Network. And we are joined by Keyairis Henry, who is the magic behind the show Atleticotv as our producer. She makes us all look good, sound good, and feel good. And Keyairis, I know that your nonprofit's doing some cool things. Out of nowhere, you talked to me about connecting with a Latino boy, Mendoza, and trying to talk to him about going to school and playing. And immediately he's kind of like, well, what's this about? And you mentioned you had this nonprofit that you work with, and you go to schools, and you're really there to empower young students to I guess, get into media and pursue their dreams. Is that sort of a nutshell of what SLPS is?
Yeah, I have a non-for-profit. It's called SLPS Alumni Broadcasting Association. I started it probably in 2017. I'm very much about giving back to the community, being more hands-on and involved. And not a lot of people know my background, but I was a product of the St. Louis Public School media program. And because of my mentor, I was able to go to school on a close to a full ride scholarship. The only thing I had to pay for was my books. But I recorded football. I got my school paid for by recording football, and then that led to me exploring more into different sports, working with Fox Sports, working with the Gateway Grizzlies, the Blues. I just been all over. So for me, I just wanted to give students the opportunity to have somewhere and someone that believes in them. You don't have to be an amazing athlete, because I'm not. I tried sports for a week, and I was like, this is not, I can't, I'm exhausted. This is just not what I'm about. I had good grades, but it wasn't the best. So to just be a product of the St. Louis Public School and hey, there's other avenues that you can take. And the way that we use media today is just unbelievable. So to show you, I did it, and I'm very close to your age, and I went to school just holding a camera. You can totally do that. So I started the non-for-profit just to let students know. So I focus on juniors and seniors in high school. And hopefully after they graduate, if they're passionate about media or want to learn more about media, I want to connect them, if not through me, with other people. So you talked about the student that I connected you with, and not saying that he wants to pursue media or anything, but let me show you that you don't have to graduate high school and then go work at McDonald's or Walmart. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but I want you to stay in your field. I want you to do what you're passionate about, and you can make money by doing that. And just showing them I did it. You can totally do it. I am an example. Homeschooled, public schooled, and then started my own business and my non-for-profit. I want students to know there's other alternatives outside of what you see, outside of the things that you're exposed to, because I know there's no one like me out there. I know I'm different, and it's okay to be different. I want you to be passionate about what you're doing and don't feel limited because you don't know. So I always tell my students, ask questions. If you don't know, ask questions. If you don't know, there's so many resources out there. If you feel like there's just a lot of things that are against you, let me help you. So I focus very much on going into schools. Let me help you create your reel. Let's go through just some basic editing things, because everyone needs a reel. Doesn't matter what you're doing, everyone needs a reel. Everyone wants to see what you've been doing in high school and how you're going to benefit their company and what you have to offer. So adding that media skill onto whatever it is that you're doing, if it's sports, if it's teaching or whatever it is, that's just going to be another advantage for you.
And someone had mentored you and kind of sparked you, and then all of a sudden you were off and running. Is that why you wanted to pay it back, pay it forward type of thing, because it happened to you?
I think so. My mentor, and a lot of people know him in St. Louis, his name is Keyairis, DJ Keyairis. He's been on all of the radio stations that I can't even name, but he saw that I was dedicated. Anything that I do, I put 1,000% in whatever it is that I'm doing. Whether I fail or succeed, I'm going to give you my all. So he saw that, hey, she's passionate about this. We have a football practice. You want to film? And I was like, sure. And I went to film a football game, and I was like, I like this. So when people are staying after school for sports and whatever, I was staying after school to work on media stuff. Like, no, that's not a thing. And I'm like, no, I want to learn more. I like this. This is new, and I want to get into it, and I want to stand out because there's a lot of things that are against me. I am very young in this media field. I'm Black. And it is a dominated white male industry. I'm not upset about that. That's just something that I feel like I need to change and let everyone know, like, hey, this is what you see on TV. This was represented, but I'm here to change that. So I'm here to let you know there's people out there like you, and I'm one of these people.
Cool. So I was gonna say that the three things that I like about what you just said. It's you need. And you're mentoring people now because you had a good mentor in the past. The second one, it is because we all should have a mentor. The second thing is the passion that you put to everything that you do, the passion that you put here in the studio for us. And the next thing is the extra work on everything that you do. And I think all those things, just for the audience, right? It's important. Everyone. You got those three things. I think it is something that is gonna I bet that is gonna put you to whatever is the next level for you professionally. The other thing that I wanna ask it is, which is interesting, right? Getting on this part of the media field, specifically in where we are now in soccer. There is a lot of stories out there of people that, for example, just to set an example, there's a coach. He's from Spain and used to coach the national team of Spain. That he started, like you saying, right? Oh, I started in football, doing football without not knowing anything of football. So this coach started doing like editing, just video analysis without not knowing, obviously, a small background in soccer. But then immediately, you get in an industry where with technology, and maybe you can talk us a little bit about that, your experience with the football, right? And got you into a different world of, because creating a path within that. So I think it's interesting to know and how many opportunities are in fields that we think that they're not gonna give us, but they do. And maybe a little bit of your experience through that experience of doing football and then not knowing, like you said, I never even
I had a media class, so we would do media projects and things like that. And then my mentor, who was my teacher back then, was just like, hey, we have a football practice. Would you like to come and just shoot so we can just look at the footage? And I'm like, okay. And I did it. And after that, he just would ask me. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I love it. I like what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it. Yeah. And then I'm like, we had a few conversations, and from my background, my mom was just, do whatever you want to do, put your 110% in it, and be passionate about it. Whatever it is, I'm going to support you, whether it's going to school or not going to school. I'm still going to support you. So me sitting down with my mentor, and he's like, hey, this is the field. This is the field that you're trying to get into. It is dominated by males, and it's dominated by white males. So you have to figure out what it is that you want to do and understand the challenges that you're going to face if it's something that you're really passionate about and you're really wanting to go into. Because I'm going to have so many things against me. So he sat down in like a very mentory way and me taking that approach very young and just like, all right, this is something that I want to do. What is going to help me stand out from all these people? Because there's a lot of people that want to be in the media industry. There's a lot of people that are out here that are passionate like I am. But how can I stand out? And I decided to learn everything. You're not going to hire me just to do video. You're not going to hire me just to do editing. I know how to do video, editing, graphic design, photography, radio, you name it. In the media industry, period, I know how to do it. So that's the approach that I decided to take, and that way when I do go and talk to students, media is always changing, it's always growing, just so you know. So there's a lot of continuing to learn, continuing to grow. But when I go and talk to my students and, well, I like graphic designs and you're just talking about video. Well, I know graphic design. Let me show you some things. If not, I know a lot of people that are in graphic design, so let me connect you. Whatever I can do to provide that avenue for you so that you can continue to do what you're passionate about, let me help you. And Ricky, you also said it, like, I was like, I don't know anything about soccer, but hey, I have a soccer show. Let me connect you, because I know Ricky and Lewis, like you guys are amazing, and I know that you're passionate about everything that you're doing. Let me connect you. I don't have the answers for you, but I'm gonna find it. If it's gonna help you, if you're passionate about it, and if you're dedicated. Because I tell my students, I'm not gonna waste my time. If you're gonna be into this, we're gonna be into it, and I'm gonna give you 1,000%. You need to give me the same. So that's where a few of them fall off and in, because they never had that before. Like, they never had someone pushing you into something that you're passionate about and not giving up on you. Like, that I don't want to do that to my students ever. So
and I think it's because, the reason I asked was because sometimes you have an opportunity, but you think I can do that, but they don't know that could link you to another open
something
opportunity
else.
and something
Yeah.
different, right? So
yeah, never limiting yourself.
I can see the blueprint of your nonprofit and the landscape, its direction it's going. I mean, you're helping just dozens and hundreds of kids, it seems like, over the last 5 years. That's going to then multiply, because then your nonprofit grows and more mentors come in, and you sort of spread that DNA of what you are made of out there. And then they, I guess, become alumni of the,
Yeah.
and then so this is what St. Louis needed. This is a piece, an extra piece. Like, we're all kind of have the right mindset, but do it in our own way. Like, we're over here through sport. You're through media, and it's amazing that how things can kind of connect. And we just need more of Keyairis in the community, and that can get out here. And I can only imagine being a student who has this talk. Some key lady is going to come talk to me, and they sit down, and then you get to tell them your story and all of the credible experiences that you have. I can only imagine how motivating that is and how awesome that would be as a student. So we just really want to say thank you and for coming on and letting us learn. Now, how can our supporters and viewers now who are falling in love with you here support this nonprofit, and where do they go next to support your mission?
So we have a Facebook page. It's called SLPS Alumni Broadcasting Association, or SLPS ABA. My name is Keyairis Henry. You can see it on the screen that it's popping up. You can search me, and we have a YouTube channel if you want to go. We have a handful of students who created video projects just to show you all what they can do and show you their career. Some of them not even in the media field. I just did a project, which I'm going to send to you too, of a student who's passionate about soccer, and he just got a scholarship, I believe. I don't know where he is. So he got a scholarship to go to school and play soccer, but he's in this media program where I was talking to these students and created a highlight reel. And it was just like amazing. So you can totally find us on YouTube. I have a lot of my students' projects on there. They're amazing. So yeah, just SLPS Alumni Broadcasting Association. Google it, and I'm going to pop up.
Well, this is our team here at Atleticotv. So cool we got to get to know you more personable on our soccer show. For Luis and I and Key, we'll see you next time on the community segment on Atletico TV.
All right, to wrap up the show today, we're going to catch up a little bit on the Champions League because we had the rest of the round of 16 matches last week. And, of course, then at the end of the week, we had the announcement of the quarterfinal matchups and potential semifinal matches coming up for the rest of the tournament. So, guys, I guess briefly before we get to the matchups here behind me on the screen, let's talk a little bit about how those teams got there. I don't think there was any surprise. We talked a little bit about it. Bayern Munich and Manchester City are playing on an entirely different level. They showed that in their matches, and they were able to comfortably advance to the quarterfinals. I was a little bit shocked. I think I expected these teams to advance. That would be Real Madrid and Chelsea, but in the way that they did it, Real Madrid beat Atalanta 3-1, basically controlled that match the entire way, and Chelsea beat Atletico Madrid 2-0, and were able to contain their attack and also put in some pretty nice goals. Of course, late on in the match, Christian Pulisic getting subbed on, got an assist, which was nice to see. And they are able to continue their great run of form right now under Thomas Tuchel. What were your guys' thoughts on, I'd say, at least those two matchups in terms of the way they really controlled their games against quality opponents?
Yeah, I think it will be a good matchup over there in the quarterfinals. Obviously, depending on how you see it, they definitely will need to play each other. But you will see games like Bayern Munich versus PSG and Dortmund versus City in a different probably in the semifinals, right? Based on what it is happening now with all the teams, but in terms of comparing with other ones. But I think it will be good at some point that we're gonna meet and that we're gonna do it. But yeah, I think it's gonna be. I mean, you can't predict. I mean, you can argue saying that there's some that they're in a different level now, but we'll see how the games go in the future.
Rick, talk to me a little bit again. Like I said, from a Chelsea fan perspective, I was elated that they're able to advance here, and of course, we will talk about in a second the tie that they were able to get. But again, it's amazing to me that the two teams they faced, Atalanta and Atletico Madrid, just had no answer really for what Real and Chelsea were able to do last week.
No, I agree. I was surprised. I really thought that Madrid was going to come out a little differently, and I did not expect Chelsea to do what they did that second leg for sure. And Real is just finding ways. I mean, Zidane just finds ways to win. He'll switch it up completely. He'll leave some guys on the bench. He knows how to win. I would say that about Zidane for sure. But this is going to be an exciting next round. I think I'm sorry, but the Porto is going to put some pressure on Chelsea. I know you don't want to hear that, but and I'm not saying they're going to lose. Chelsea's going to lose, but that's going to be a game.
Mm-hmm. I think that in terms of an entertainment factor, probably I'd put that actually behind the other three, just in terms of the big name aspect of it. Chelsea aren't like your typical Chelsea team in terms of big stars in form. They're doing well, but still, it's not your typical Chelsea squad. And for Porto, the average soccer fan is not going to recognize their players. Mm-hmm. They should recognize the great work that they're doing. But in terms of an entertainment factor, don't think it's as high. From a competitive standpoint, it might be the most competitive.
It's kind of like March Madness right now, right? Because the other three games, whoever wins is like they won. It's not. But if Porto takes care of Chelsea and now they're in the semifinal, that is a big deal because there's this dark horse that has this opportunity to get into the final, and it's that March Madness type of stuff that's going on now that I feel makes Porto exciting because there's a chance. They've gotten this far, right? Yeah.
If you want a good comparison, they're no Oral Roberts. They are Loyola Chicago. They are a little bit of a lower level team that needs to be recognized as one of the big boys. Mm-hmm. I think they'll showcase it here. But in terms of the other three ties, I'm excited about Manchester City versus Dortmund. I don't know if there's a qualification that if City win, they get Erling Haaland next summer. But it's kind of funny to see how will they defend against him. They've had a very good year defensively, but he's an entirely different monster right now. And, of course, Jadon Sancho will be back, another former Manchester City product. That's an interesting story there. You've got Real Madrid versus Liverpool, rematch of the final from a couple of years ago. Again, Liverpool have looked a little bit better as of late, but we just saw what Real Madrid were able to do in their tie. They looked a little bit like their old selves. And, of course, the tie that everybody really cares about, Bayern Munich, PSG, rematch of last year's final. Two of the biggest, best clubs in the world matched up at this point. Neymar will be back, so PSG will be firing on all cylinders. We've seen what Bayern can do. I'm really excited about all these different ties. There's going to be a lot of great offensive football. So I think then the emphasis has to be, guys, in my opinion, from a coaching standpoint, you can tell me if I'm wrong, defensively, how do you match up with these teams? How do you defend specific players? Because there's some that stand out more so than others, but also in terms of just the setup, how do you defend against some of these clubs? That's got to be the focus, I would think, going into some of these matches for some of these teams.
Yeah, it will be a good round with different styles, different ways of approaching the games, and I think my favorite one there is Bayern Munich versus PSG. Because like I said before, you should expect that one a little bit further in the rounds, but there has to be a winner. So there's a lot of what PSG did with Barcelona, what Bayern does on a regular basis on super disciplined German teams, and all the matches are good and they're gonna be excited. And looking forward as well for the Real Madrid Liverpool. Just in the moments that they are, Real Madrid isn't great this season as well. Liverpool hasn't been great, but they're top clubs, right? They're clubs that there's more than pride there. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these teams here, as you look at them, they're not going to necessarily be focused on how to stop the other team, because they're just going to play the way they play. They got them here, and both teams are going to do that. So it's going to come down to some mistakes that happen in a game. We've seen a goalie give a missed kicking, a goal was scored earlier this year. Honestly, it's going to come down to just a mistake, and then the other team's going to carry the tide over. That's my predictions.
And of course, this year, I think this is the second year they did this. They announced the semifinal matchups, so we kind of already know if a certain team wins from this matchup, we know who they'll be facing the next round. I think we've gotten to another situation where one side of the bracket is much more loaded than the other. I don't mind saying that as a Chelsea fan, that Chelsea facing the winner of Real Madrid-Liverpool is the weaker matchup, whereas potentially we could get a Bayern Munich-Manchester City matchup.
But it is.
Exactly. So I don't mind admitting that.
Who do you have it?
Well, I was going to ask predictions in terms of...
I want to know yours.
I think that at the end of the day, in terms of just the quality and the clubs specifically, I don't think anybody right now is better than Bayern Munich. I think even if they face up against Man City, they're going to find a way to win. I'll take Bayern from that side, and I'll take Real Madrid based off of their recent win. I think that they'll be able to handle Liverpool's attack, and then I still think Chelsea will advance, but in terms of just being able to score goals, Madrid's in a much better place than Chelsea. So I'll take Bayern versus Madrid, and I'll take Bayern to win. What about you guys?
I will say that it's hard, but based on what we have seen, I mean, I expect the Bayern. I wasn't what PSG did with Barcelona in the second leg. I mean, they could struggle versus Bayern Munich if they tried to do that. So I will go for Bayern as well. I agree. Chelsea has changed. I like at least the approach of what the Atletico Madrid game, and knowing that if they could do the same, I mean, comparing with Porto is the underdog and everything, but their styles, it's I think it could beat the other one, and then Real Madrid as well, and Man City. I mean, Man City is we could get surprises for sure with Haaland and everything, but we have seen a Bayern versus Dortmund versus let's say a lot of adversity. And Man City, I think, is capable of, if they get in trouble with some adversity, they will be able to get out of that one. So, I mean, this is the fun part about soccer, right? It's so unpredictable. And then we could be talking about a Dortmund, a Porto, a Liverpool, and a PSG. I don't know, but those are my four.
Yeah, so my favorite teams, in the EPL is Man City. It's always been my team. In Bundesliga is Dortmund. In La Liga is Barca, so I can't root for any other La Liga team right now, so sorry, Real Madrid. So, honestly, I think I want either, City is probably my number one. I think they're going to go all the way. Mm-hmm. But if Dortmund's able to knock off City, then this is their year to win Champions League.
Really?
And then I'm riding Dortmund all the way to the end. So either of those two that's going to win is going to win. I'm telling you now.
Oh, they're good.
But Man City is who I want.
Well, I think that would be the most, offensively,
Yeah.
I think Bayern PSG will be on its level, but in terms of just an all-out attack from what Dortmund can do versus what City can do, that also will probably be the tie to watch for your entertainment. But yeah, very exciting time. And yeah, when you think about it, I mean, trying to pick out who the weakest link is in this group, there is none. There's nowhere to hide at this point, and it's, again, I think we got to a good place in terms of right now the 8 best clubs in Europe, and exciting to see what they can produce. So looking forward to the rest of that tournament. That's going to do it for this episode of Atleticotv. It goes by quick. Had a lot of fun, a lot of good breakdowns, a lot of good talk, and again, looking forward to continuing to do it. We're almost through to the month of March, and the U.S. seasons will really soon be getting underway. It'll be cool to analyze those and talk to some people in the community there as well. So again, thanks to you guys, Felice and Ricky. Josh, also want to thank again for Local Radio STL for providing a platform for us to do the show. Thanks to our producer, Key, for not only running the show from behind the scenes, but being on the show this week. Again, check out her nonprofit and continue to follow her work as well. Thanks to Travis on the boards, out and back. And again, looking forward to being back right here next week with another brand new episode. So have a good week, enjoy the soccer, and we'll see you guys soon.